Shall I start? Hello, hi, hello, good evening. Welcome to the first revision class for biology by the Diksha Vedantu setup. And before we start our first class, I want to wish you all a very happy New Year 2024. I wish all the students here and who will be watching this video, let the year ahead be colorful, brightful and successful. All right. So, in today's class, we will be dealing with the most important topic, which is control and coordination. Okay. So, this is a most vast topic which you will again be studying in your class 11 and class 12 students, and we will be discussing some of the basic concepts which is there in class 10 level, and what we are going to see here in our first session is what is been appearing in the previous year question papers. Okay, the more you are thorough with the previous year question papers, it will be like a cakewalk in your examinations, right? So, without any further delay, let's begin and go into the chapter to see what exactly is control and coordination. So, before you see the questions here, this particular topic is being divided in both plants and animals. So, you are going to understand how control and coordination is happening in the plants as well as the animals. Okay. So, we are going to see in both these organisms how the receptors are going to function, what are the organs that is going to play a role in the response to stimuli. What is response to stimuli, children? Very simple question. I want all of you to keep responding here on the chat box. When I ask questions, please respond here so that I know that you are listening. Hi, Dhanush Shetty is saying hi ma'am. Hi Dhanush. Okay. So, I think you are eager to look at the questions, correct? So, control and coordination in plants and animals. Here, what you see behind me on the screen is a simple flow chart that is going to tell you the system present in animals, correct? So, when we talk about control and coordination in animals, we can have the two systems, which is the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, all right. So, in case of animals, including human beings, we have two important systems. Hi, good evening Manjunath. Happy New Year to both of you. Thank you for responding here, all right. So, it's so happy that people are responding to my questions. All right. So, nervous system is divided into central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. You can also have an autonomic nervous system, children. Okay. We can have central, peripheral and autonomous nervous system, but here you see autonomous is linked under the peripheral nervous system. So, we can see and go with the flow. Central nervous system is mainly going to comprise of the brain and spinal cord. Okay. So, when I say central nervous system, it is mainly the brain and the spinal cord, along with a small portion called the brain stem. Now, what is this brain stem? Brain stem. How are you going to remember what is the brain stem? So, we will change it to a different color so you can see it. It is going to comprise of the midbrain, all right, the pons and medulla. Okay. So, this is the brain stem. So, remember there are three parts of the brain stem. The three parts of the brain stem are MPM. Remember MPM. MPM stands for the midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. That is a brain stem. Okay. And when you see the brain, it is going to be vast, divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Okay. Out of the three, forebrain is going to play the most important role because it's going to be large. It's the place where all your sense organs are going to give signals. Hey, come on, see this. Hey, smell this. Hey, let's feel this. So, all your sense organs are going to send messages to this part of the brain. So, it's going to comprise of the cerebrum, it's going to have the thalamus and hypothalamus. Okay. So, compared to all the parts, the forebrain is going to be the largest and most important. And you know what is spinal cord? It is going to comprise of the nerves, okay, and it is going to be a messenger between the brain and the peripheral nervous system. Now, what is the peripheral nervous system? Peripheral nervous system is going to be divided into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Alright. So, what is autonomic nervous system? Autonomic nervous system is going to be involved in the involuntary process. What is involuntary process? Which is not under your control. I cannot tell my heart, hey heart, please take rest, stop beating for some time. What will happen if you say that? You are dead, correct? So, I cannot tell the stomach, okay, you have been grinding all the time from morning, just take rest. No, it will not. It will keep doing its work, correct? So, there are certain organs in our body that we cannot control. But I can tell, okay, I don't want to walk now, I don't want to dance, I don't want to run, I don't want to swim. So, I can sit in one place. This is under my control. But what is not in my control? Breathing is not in my control, digestion is not in my control, excretion is not in my control. So, all these things including our pupil contraction, okay, the blinking of an eye, you cannot control it. You can just try, just look at each other's eye, okay. How long can you keep looking at each other without blinking? Not possible, right? After a point of time we lose, correct? We must have played these games in school. So, this is also not under our control. So, that comes under the autonomic nervous system. Now, what is somatic nervous system? Somatic nervous system is going to deal with the motor movements. That means it is the voluntary actions. I want to move, I want to run, I want to sit. Who is giving that information? It is the somatic nervous system. Alright. Further, if you see the autonomic nervous system, it is going to have sympathetic nerves and parasympathetic nerves. What is the difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves? Sympathetic nerves means it is mainly for the fear and flight, emergency hormones. Let's say tomorrow is your board exam, okay, and you are tensed. Who is giving you that tension? Here we have our sympathetic nerves. Let's say you are flying on air, okay, or let's say you are tensed about what's going to come in tomorrow's question paper. You are just in the examination hall waiting for your question paper. So, you have that kind of tension, right? All that is because of our sympathetic nervous system. So, immediately we have the adrenaline and noradrenaline that is going to be released. Why are these hormones released? So that you are able to overcome the shock. It should never be a cardiac arrest, right? Suddenly hearing a shock. You should be prepared. So, these are called emergency hormones. Fear and flight hormones are emergency hormones. Alright. So, that is your sympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system, where do they act? When you are in a very subtle situation, let's say you are playing on a swing. Yes, very good, Manjunath, you have answered, very good. So, it is in a calm mode. You play swing, or let's say you play cricket or a football, okay. So, there we have this parasympathetic nervous system. So, this is about the chemical control in case of animals. Now, when I talk about chemical control in case of plants, can you put it in the chat box, students? What is it when I talk about plants? Let's not have a flow chart, we will go to the questions next. So, when I talk about plants, what do you think the chemicals are in a plant? Dhanush, Manjunath, I think only Manjunath is continuously answering, okay. Chemical coordination in case of plants, okay. Let me tell you the answer. Chemical coordination in case of plants is with the help of hormones, okay. Mainly we have the plant hormones. There are 5 plant hormones that you are going to remember: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene. Okay, these are the 5 plant hormones which we call them as phytohormones. Phyto is plant. Okay, ethylene, yes, Dhanush, ethylene. Okay, so out of this auxin, cytokinin, gibberellin, ethylene and abscisic acid, there is one growth inhibitor. That means it's a negative hormone. All the remaining are promoters. What is an inhibitor? Which is going to delay, which is going to stop the growth, which is going to close the stomata, which is the negative hormone in case of plants. Which is a negative hormone? This is a hot, higher order thinking question. Which of the following hormones is a negative hormone in case of plants? Can you repeat? Okay. So we have 5 hormones, right? That is auxins, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene and abscisic acid. Out of these 5 hormones, there is one hormone which is a inhibitor. Inhibitor means it is going to have a negative impact on the plant. Okay, that means it is going to cause leaf fall, it is going to delay, it is going to promote dormancy. Dhanush has given adeline. Okay, okay, I will tell you the answer. The negative hormone is abscisic acid. Okay, please make a note, students. The negative hormone is abscisic acid. So we are going to call abscisic acid as a stress hormone. It gives a relief, stress buster. Whenever the plant is stressed, abscisic acid is released. Like how we have here the fear and flight hormones. Okay, very good, Dhanush. Fear and flight hormones in case of animals. In case of plant, who is that hormone? It is the abscisic acid. So whenever the plant is very, very stressed, let's say, what is the stress to a plant? Plant is not getting enough of sunlight. It can't make food. Plant is not getting enough of minerals. It cannot have good food. Plant has no water at all. So that is a stress to a plant. So who is overcoming this stress? So what the plant does is, it starts producing abscisic acid. Okay. So abscisic acid is, so I have one of my friend who is just typing, good evening Rashmi Ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So plant produces abscisic acid to overcome this stress. All right. So we'll take up the questions of the previous year question papers. The first question says, electric impulse travels in a neuron from. You have 4 options here: dendrite, axon, axonal end to cell body, cell body, dendrite, axon, axonal end, dendrite, cell body, axon, axonal end, axonal end, axon, cell body to dendrite. So you are going to give me the answer. Okay. Plant can prepare own food. Yes, they prepare own food, but what if there is no sunlight, there is no water? Then it causes stress, right, Anjunath? So that's when abscisic acid is going to be released. Something like your fear and flight hormones. All right. So you are going to give me the answer. Please answer in the chat box. What is the answer for this? Electrical impulse in a neuron is going to travel from. Okay. So when you look at the diagram of a neuron, this is a 5-mark question for your board exam. Please learn to draw the structure of the neuron. Okay, so quickly we'll show the diagram of the neuron. This is how it looks. These are your Schwann cells. Correct? So this is the structure of a neuron, and these are the dendrites. This is the cell body. This is the nucleus. This is the axon, the axonal end or axon terminal, and these are the cells. Okay, myelin sheath you have, Schwann cells you have. This is the nodes of Ranvier. Okay, the spaces whatever is present here. So if you look the electrical impulse traveling, it is going to travel from here. Definitely I have something here, I have another neuron here. So from that neuron, it starts with the dendrite. From the dendrite, it is going to go to the cell body. From the cell body, it goes to the axon. From the axon, it goes to the axonal end or axonal terminal. So Dhanush has given the correct answer. We have Ranjana has also given the correct answer. Very good. So it is option C. All right. Next we have cytokinins are known to inhibit cytoplasmic movement, help in retention of chlorophyll, influence water movement, promote abscission layer formation. So what is abscission? Abscission means falling off. Okay. Abscission means falling off of a leaf or a stem or any part of the plant. So what do you think cytokinin does? Please give your answers on the chat box. Okay, cytokinins. What is the role of cytokinin? Please remember, cytokinin is a promoter, plant growth promoter. So PG is plant growth. Okay, cytokinin is a plant growth promoter. Auxin is a plant growth promoter. Cytokinin is a plant growth promoter. Gibberellin is a plant growth promoter. Okay, and what does this cytokinin do? Remember children, cytokinin is a magic hormone. Okay, why I am calling this as a magic hormone is, it's going to keep the plant young for a very long period of time. Do you know that there are researches which is happening where all the scientists are trying to slow down the aging process. So you are 80 years, but you will still look 16 or 17 years old. That is the research what is happening in today's science field. Okay, so people are trying to look young, make themselves young, and they are trying to figure out ways how a person who is old will still be young. The same thing is happening in plants also. We already know the answer for it. Okay, yes, Dhanush, you are saying present around the stem, helps in cell division, all that correct, but what's the main important? Remember, cytokinin is a magic hormone. Okay, magic hormone, why? It is going to slow down aging process in plants. Okay, please make a note of this. It is going to slow down aging process in plants. So I am going to call this as a magic hormone. How does a plant remain young? When does a plant remain old? So you have a leaf. The leaf is going to be green in color. Okay. You have another leaf. The leaf has become yellow or brown in color. Okay. So which would you call as a young leaf, the green one or the yellow one? The one which is becoming dry. Definitely the one which is green in color. This is called as a young leaf, correct? So when I say it is going to slow down aging in plants, definitely it is meaning that it is going to keep the plant green in color. And if the plant has to be green in color, what does it need? It needs chlorophyll pigment, because chlorophyll is the one which is responsible for green color in the plants. Okay, so definitely cytokinin is going to help in retention of chlorophyll. So by keeping more amount of chlorophyll, the plant is going to remain younger for a very long period of time. All right, next question. Brain stem is formed by the union of, we had discussed this, I told you the answer in the first slide itself. Optic lobes, cerebellum with optic lobes, corpora, striata, none of the above. So if you remember, what is brain stem formed of? You will get the answer. So what is the answer for this? I think both of you have given the answer for the previous question, correct? So brain stem is formed of, I told you, remember, MPM, correct? Didn't we discuss this? Brain stem is formed of MPM. What is this MPM? Is going to be, please type the answer, what is MPM? Midbrain, pons and medulla, correct? Do we have any of that here? We don't have any of it here. So it is going to be none of the above. All right. Okay. The pineal body is considered as an endocrine gland, an organ concerned with voluntary actions, organ concerned with vision, a vestige of third eye and endocrine gland. Okay. So pineal body, where is this pineal body going to be present? Any idea? Medulla, midbrain, pons, very good, Dhanush. Okay. So pineal body here. This is going to be present between the brain hemispheres, okay, near corpus callosum. Okay, between the brain hemispheres, we are having corpus callosum, and just beneath the corpus callosum, we have the pineal gland. Okay, what is the main role of pineal gland here? We are going to consider pineal gland as a very, very important hormone. Very good, Dhanush. You've given the answer correctly. So pineal gland is going to produce a hormone which is called as melatonin cycle. Okay, this is the main role of the pineal gland. That means I know when I have to sleep, when I have to wake up. Okay, if you consider a baby sleep throughout the night, correct? So they don't know which is day, which is night, because the gland is not very active, correct? But here, I know that I have to wake up in the morning, I have to sleep during the night, and this is the circadian cycle which is being regulated by melatonin produced by the pineal gland. All right. That means this gland is secreting hormones. So what will I call it? It is an endocrine gland. Correct. And since it is present in the part of the brain that is between the cerebral hemispheres, okay, your corpus callosum, what is going to happen is it is going to take care of the control and coordination of the brain. So it is going to be a vestige of the third eye and an endocrine gland. Thank you, Nirmal. Thank you so very much. Okay. The next question, autonomic nervous system controls. Very simple question. We had seen the flow chart, the first chart that I had showed you, reflex action, sense organs, internal organs, skeletal muscle. So we have the autonomic nervous system, correct? What does autonomic nervous system do? It is going to take care of your involuntary actions, not audible. Dhanush says it's not audible. Is there any issue? Okay. I think it's fine now. Okay. All right. So here we have autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is going to take care of your involuntary actions. Okay. Please refresh the video. Okay. All right. So definitely it's going to take care of your internal organs, which could be breathing, which could be excretion, which could be digestion, circulation, any of this. All right. Which of the following acts as both endocrine and exocrine gland? Pancreas, liver, adrenal and kidney. So we have 4 options. Both endocrine and exocrine together will be called as a mixed gland. Okay. So when I call a gland a mixed gland, it means it is having both functions of producing hormones as well as it is going to produce some kind of juices which go through the ducts. So among the following options, what is here? Definitely Dhanush has given the correct answer. Very good, Dhanush, which is pancreas. Okay. So pancreas is going to be a mixed gland because it has both endocrine and exocrine functions. When I talk about the exocrine functions, it is mainly going to be dealing with the digestive system. So here it is going to produce pancreatic juice. Okay, the secretion is pancreatic juice. Okay, when I talk about the endocrine function of the pancreas, it is going to produce hormones, mainly glucagon and insulin. Okay, so one is going to decrease the blood glucose level, insulin is going to decrease the blood glucose level, whereas glucagon is going to increase the blood glucose level. Okay, so they act opposite to each other. Pancreas has got islets of Langerhans and they are going to produce 2 types of cells, alpha cells and beta cells, which is going to release glucagon and insulin, which is why we are going to call it as a mixed gland. All right. Which part of the human brain controls body temperature? Pituitary, diencephalon, hypothalamus, none of these. So this is a very direct question which is being asked. Definitely it can't be the pituitary, okay, because we are talking about the human brain. Pituitary gland by itself is a master gland, so it can't be a part of the brain. Diencephalon, what is diencephalon going to do? It is going to regulate the pituitary gland. Okay, so it regulates the pituitary gland to secrete various other things. So when I talk about body temperature, so mainly here we can say diencephalon is with metabolism and body temperature is going to be controlled by hypothalamus. All right, very good, Dhanush. Okay, coordination via the nervous system tends to differ from that produced by the endocrine system because the nervous system is quick, precise and localized, is slow and more pervasive, does not require conscious activity, has long lasting effect. Okay, so please understand the question here. They are trying to ask coordination via the nervous system is different from the endocrine system. So you are going to compare both the system. One is the endocrine system and the other one is the nervous system. Okay, so please compare both these systems and then you will look at the options to give your answer. Dhanush is the only person who is responding, I think. Okay, I don't know how many of you are here. Please respond in case you are here. Okay, so that I know that you are listening. All right, so when you look at both the systems, that is the endocrine system whose main function is to release the hormones. So that's going to travel a longer distance to act, whereas nervous system is going to travel by the neurons. Okay. So, if you look at the signals received, here it is going to be precise, it is going to be quick, and it is going to be localized, very, very particular, alright. So, we would say that coordination via the nervous system is more quick, more precise, and more localized, alright. Growth of pollen tube towards ovule during fertilization is an example of phototropism, geotropism, chemotropism, hydrotropism, okay. So, what is the meaning of this? I have a gynoecium here, okay. This is the stigma style ovary and ovule, and there is a pollen grain which is trying to enter inside, okay. This is the pollen tube which is carrying the pollen grain. On what basis does this pollen grain correctly goes and fertilizes the egg is a question, okay. How does the pollen grain know that it has to go to this particular area or this particular region for the process of fertilization, alright. Phototropism means response to light, photo is light, geotropism is response to gravity, chemotropism is response to chemicals, and hydrotropism is response to water, okay. So, any movement with respect to photo, geo, chemo, hydro, we will call it as tropism. Apparently, it is seen that in case of the gynoecium, there are certain tissues which is going to produce a chemical, and this chemical is going to attract the pollen tube towards the egg. Otherwise, how will the pollen tube know that this is the place that it has to go and fertilize, this is where the egg lies? It does not know, right? So, if it has to go to a particular region, it needs to know the route or the way how it has to go. So, who is actually carrying this is the chemical which is released by the female, okay, by the gynoecium, okay. So, with the help of chemicals, the pollen tube is going to go and reach the egg, and then the process of fertilization is going to happen. So, that is going to be option C, which is chemotropism, alright. Which part of the human brain is most well developed? So, this also we have seen in the flow chart, my first diagram. Forebrain, hindbrain, diencephalon, none of these, okay. Most well developed, the largest part of the brain, which is going to have receptors for all the sense organs, the ability to think and respond, that is going to be the forebrain, alright. So, let us go to a few questions now, what can be asked, and these are questions which have been repeatedly seen in the previous year question papers. As long as you are thorough with the previous year question papers, I think it should be good enough for you to appear for the upcoming board exams, okay. So, let us see what the question says. How does control and coordination take place in plants, okay. What is the meaning of control and coordination? I told you, it is in simple words, it is response to stimuli. You touch a hot iron box, you immediately withdraw your finger, correct? You take out the finger. How did it happen? It is just within a fraction of second that you have touched the iron box, correct? So, immediately your finger was quick enough to send the message to your brain, and the brain has responded immediately, hey, you have to take it out, take out your finger from there. So, all of this is fraction of a second. That is what is control and coordination. The same thing it is happening in animals, I told you. The same control and coordination in animals when it is happening, we would say it is with the help of phytohormones, that is the plant hormones. So, what are the plant hormones? Auxins, gibberellins, cytokinins, abscisic acid and ethylene, okay. So, similarly, how we respond to the environment, the plants are also going to respond to their environment. What is their environment? Plants do not move, they do not walk. So, everything is just in one place, correct? So, plants are going to respond to sunlight, plants are responding to their mineral requirement, plants respond to water, plants respond to touch. Your touch me not plant, immediately as soon as you touch it closes, correct? That is a response to stimulus. Plants are going to respond to everything around them. So, when you talk about control and coordination in plants, we can say that it is mainly because of the plant hormones or the phytohormones. Okay. So, what they do? They are going to affect the external stimulus, and the external stimulus can be light, gravity, water, touch, etc. Okay. The important plant hormones: auxins, gibberellins, cytokinin, abscisic acid, which is written as ABA, and the last one is ethylene. Okay. What are you going to remember, children? All of this except abscisic acid. So, abscisic acid is a plant growth inhibitor. Okay. PG is plant growth inhibitor. Okay. All of these are promoters. Either it will increase the growth of the stem, it will increase the cell division process, it will cause elongation of the root, it will promote good things. Whereas abscisic acid is a stress hormone. So, the one word that you are going to remember for abscisic acid is, it is a plant stress hormone. Okay. The one word that you are going to remember for ethylene is, it is going to help in fruit ripening. Okay. Fruit ripening, ripening of fruits. So, if you want a fruit to ripen faster, let us say you have all tomatoes which are raw, immediately you want to ripen it in one day. All you have to do is just take some ethylene and spray over it. It becomes ripe within a few days instead of waiting for weeks together. So, most of the time, if you have observed, go to a fruit shop next time and see, outside the fruit looks very pulpy and very juicy, but when you cut the fruit inside, it's still raw. I don't know how many of you have experienced such a thing. You go to a fruit shop next time, outside you see, and then you get the fruit, it's all so ripe, you think it's ready to eat. Then you cut it and see, it's still raw inside. So, it is a clear indication that the vendor has sprayed ethylene on this fruit for ripening process. Okay. So, that is why what has happened, the outside part of the fruit has become so ripe, but when you cut inside, it is still raw. That means it is not naturally ripened, it is artificial ripening of fruit. So, whenever you want to ripen a fruit, the other simple thing you can do is, you have a fruit at home which is very ripe and you have a raw fruit. What you can do is, you can take the raw fruit and keep it next to a ripe fruit. So, immediately you will see that it ripens faster. Why? Because ripened fruit already have ethylene in them, they start producing ethylene. So, this ethylene falls on the raw fruit and that also ripens. Okay. This is a very simple trick to ripen fruit. So, ethylene is a hormone which is going to be involved in the ripening process. Alright. So, next question, define nerve impulse. Which structure in a neuron helps to conduct a nerve impulse towards the cell body, away from the cell body? Very simple. Will you send this PPT? Yes, definitely I will be sending, Danush, I will be sending the PPT once class is done. You can download the PPT and you can go through the PPT. Alright. Okay. So, nerve impulse. What is nerve impulse? We have seen the structure of a neuron, correct? So, traveling from the dendrites. So, let us say if this is the neuron, this is the dendrite, this ends in a axon end or the axon bulb. Okay. So, next neuron or the previous neuron is somewhere here. So, here I would have had the axon bulb and this is another neuron. Okay. And the same continues neuron to neuron. So, the transform of information from one neuron to the next neuron, that is called as a nerve impulse. Signal which is being passed. How did the finger give information to your brain? Okay, this is a hot iron box, she needs to remove her hand. How did this happen? Immediately the neuron started working, it started giving a signal from one to the other, okay. So, that is called as nerve impulse, okay. The electrical signals which is being moved from one neuron to the other, that is a nerve impulse. Now, the question says towards the cell body, this is my cell body, correct. So, this is a nucleus, this is my cell body. So, who is getting it towards the cell body? We have the dendrites. So, dendrite is going to pass the information towards the cell body, away from the cell body. This is my cell body away from the cell body is my next structure, which is axon. Okay. So, there are two structures, one towards the cell body, that is the dendrite, and away from the cell body, that is the axon. Okay. So, that is the answer. Alright, next question, which is the main thinking part of the brain? How does it function? Okay, as I told this earlier, the main thinking part is the forebrain. Okay, why? Because that is the reason where all your sensory information is going to be present. So, just have a look at this diagram. Okay, it's not there. Okay. So, I have the forebrain. Imagine that this is the forebrain, part of the brain, the two hemispheres held together. At different parts of the forebrain, I am going to have receptors for different sense organ. So, this can be the touch, this can be the smell, this can be the taste, hearing and seeing, eyes. Okay, these are our 5 sense organs. The receptors for all these sense organs are going to be present in the forebrain. Okay, that means the moment you smell something, the moment you hear something, the moment you see something, the moment you touch something, immediately these responses will be traveling in the form of chemical signals and electrical signals through the neurons. So, from the dendrite to the axon end, next dendrite, next axon end, and the process continues till it reaches the forebrain. So, once the receptor here is receive the information, what is it going to do? It is going to think for some time. Okay. So, whatever information is already received by the brain, it is going to receive this in different forms, and then it is analyzing it and sending back the information with a decision. Okay. How to respond? Let us say if it is a hot iron box, the response would be, please remove your hand. Okay. So, if you are having something to taste the food, it will give you an information, okay, you have to add this, or this is less, this is more, maybe salt is more, salt is less. So, it gives your mind an analysis, okay, of how to respond. So, the main thinking part of the brain is forebrain. The reason is all the sense organs, the receptors for all these sense organs is going to be present in the forebrain. The forebrain, once it receives the signal, it is going to process this, and then it is going to give you a response, and then you will make a decision. All right. Okay, there is a need for a system of control and coordination in an organism. Justify. So, the question is asking, why should there be control and coordination in an organism? Okay. Just imagine a very simple scenario that you are going on your cycling, or let us say you are doing some exercise. Okay. So, what is happening? Your muscles are working out, your hands and legs, they are moving, your muscles are working, there is requirement of more oxygen, correct? So, what should happen? You should breathe more. Okay. Let us say you are doing exercise, your heart starts pumping faster, your heart beats faster than normal. Okay. That means the requirement is more for energy. So, obviously your heart is beating more faster. So, your breathing is more, so that you take in more oxygen. And do you know why we need oxygen? What is the need for oxygen in our body? The main reason for oxygen, the main reason for we breathing is the oxygen whatever is taken inside is used to break down the food that you eat into ATP. Okay. The food whatever we eat is broken down with the help of oxygen to release energy in the form of ATP molecules. All right. So, once the ATP molecules are released, it is being used by different cells of your body. So, the exercise what you are doing or the cycling what you are doing is coordinated by different organs. It is coordinated by the heart, it is coordinated by the lungs because you are breathing more oxygen, it is coordinated by the muscles, and also you do not feel much hungry to eat at that point of time when you are doing exercise. You do not feel like eating much after a very tedious exercise, you feel drained out because your digestive system is also being controlled at that point of time, which means all the organs are working simultaneously. There is some synchronization between all the organs. Let's say the heart says, okay, I will stop pumping at this time. Or let's say the lungs say, I will not breathe more. Your body needs oxygen, you are doing exercise, your body needs oxygen, your body needs energy, and the lung says, no, no, I am not going to breathe, I am not going to take more oxygen. What will happen when there is no control and no coordination between different organs? Your oxygen intake will be less. So what is going to happen? Your ATP will be less, and this in turn will affect your heart also. So we don't want that. We need to stay healthy, we need to avoid ourselves from various diseases and disorders, and for this reason it is very important to have a proper synchronization of various organs in our body. Okay, so this is the reason why the mechanism of control and coordination happens. All right. Are you all following whatever I am saying? Please put in the reply in the chat box. Yes, no. Are you able to follow whatever is being taught? Dhanush, Manjunath, yes, no. All right. Okay. So name the plant hormones responsible for elongation of cells. Okay. Which hormone is responsible for elongation of cells? Very simple, direct answer. It is going to be auxin. So where is auxin going to be present? Auxin is going to be present in the shoot tips. Okay. So I have a plant, and here at the tip of the plant I am going to see auxin that's going to be present. That's a growth promoter. All right. Name the plant hormone synthesized at the shoot tips. How does it help the plant to respond to light? Okay. A person can die. Okay. I don't know where in between you have answer to this question. Okay. All right. So here when I spoke about shoot tips, why ma'am? Okay. So when I spoke about shoot tips, just now we came across auxin. So auxin is a growth promoting hormone. It is going to be present at the tip of the shoot. Okay. One simple experiment that was done and that will help you understand is, when I have a light source which is going to fall on this shoot tip, it is always observed that this shoot tip is going to bend towards the source of light. Okay. So let's say I had light falling in this direction. What happens is auxins are going to make the shoot tip bend towards this direction. Okay. So you might think why this bending happens. Okay. The reason is auxins are going to diffuse towards the shady side of the root. The reason why this happens is a very simple understanding scenario I can tell you. When you are doing march past, most of you in school would have gone through this. Okay. So you will be 3 people, and let's say you are taking a right turn. The person at the last will take the shortest step, the middle person will take a little longer step, and the last person will take the longest step. Okay, I hope you are able to correlate the same situation in a march past, whatever is happening. You have 3 people marching. Okay, and what is going to happen is, I have the last person who will be taking the longest step. Correct? So the same phenomena or the same logic is applied here. This part of the cell, the cells which are present in this part, they will take a longer side. Okay. So you see the cells grow on the side of the shoot. So these are the cells which are going to take a longer step. Okay, because they are away from the light. All right. So since they are away from the light, they will take a longer step, while this which is close to the light will take the shortest step. Okay. So that's the phenomenon that you are going to correlate, which is why you can see the cells which is growing longer, the one which is present away, the dark side, will take longer step to move towards the light. Okay. Okay, the question for this is, why is this is just a statement made. Pituitary gland is considered master gland because it controls all the endocrine glands. Okay, why is pituitary gland called the master gland? Because it is going to control all the endocrine glands. All right. So next question, what is phototropism and geotropism? We already discussed phototropism and geotropism. Photo means light, okay, response to light. Geo is response to gravity, okay. So the movement of the plant in response to the sunlight, we will be calling it as phototropism. The movement of the plant in response to gravity, that is called as geotropism, okay. We also discussed hydrotropism, correct? All right, okay. Name the hormones secreted by the following endocrine glands and specify one function to each, okay. So we have 3 glands which is being given. One is the thyroid gland, pituitary gland, and the other one is pancreas. Pancreas already I had discussed when I told you it is a mixed gland. If you look at thyroid, the hormone produced by thyroid is thyroxine. What is the main function of this thyroxine? I will give you one word to remember. Please remember, thyroxine means it regulates BMR. BMR stands for basal metabolic rate, okay. Basal metabolic rate means it is going to correlate the height and weight of the person. So if you go to places where you check weight, there they would give you a sheet, a graph sheet where a height is given and corresponding weight will be given. So this particular person's height and this particular weight, is it correlating or no? That is called as basal metabolic rate, okay. So basal metabolic rate, when I said it is correlating with height and weight, it is going to relate with growth of the person, okay. Person is going to grow. How does the person grow? Only when you eat, person grows. So it is going to deal with energy or ATP, correct. So energy or ATP, how do I get? When there is breakdown of the food which I eat, so that's going to be breakdown of carbohydrates, proteins and fats, correct. So remember one word for BMR, children. BMR means growth, energy, and this happens because of metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Pituitary gland, the main function of pituitary gland is it is going to secrete the growth hormone which is going to lead to growth and development of the body. All right. The last one is pancreas. Pancreas, I told you, it secretes 2 hormones. Here we have only insulin, but for your additional information, I also gave the other hormone which is glucagon, okay. So insulin is going to lower the blood sugar level. That means as soon as you eat, what happens? Your body level glucose goes up very, very high, okay. So early morning when you get up, there is absolutely no glucose. That is called as fasting sugar level, okay. If somebody is having diabetes at home, you must have heard all these terms. Fasting blood glucose level. So fasting blood glucose level is the one which is present the moment you wake up after sleeping, okay. Then after you eat, what happens? Your blood sugar level immediately goes high. So what happens? Pancreas is going to tell, hey, start producing insulin, and it is going to lower the blood glucose level. Let's say you are on a fast, you are doing fasting, okay. You have not eaten at all from morning. Your body needs energy. So what does the pancreas do? It is going to produce glucagon. And what is this glucagon going to do? It is going to increase the blood sugar level, okay. It increases the blood sugar level so that your body needs energy. So it balances, which is why pancreas is a mixed gland. All right, okay. So we will see one high order thinking question here. I have very nice question which has been asked in 2-3 papers. So we have a chart related to the same question of pancreas what we are talking. So just look at the question. We have the doctor's advice that is being given. Doctor's advice about the mean blood glucose level. I want all of you to think about this and put your answers in the chat box. Doctor's advice is 200 to 400 mg per deciliter glucose. When the glucose is said to be good in a person's body is when it is 100 to 140 mg per deciliter, okay. Glucose level is said to be excellent when it is 80 to 100 mg per deciliter. So early in the morning, that is your fasting blood glucose level, when you check the glucose level, if it is 80 to 100, I would say it's an excellent report of the patient. Patient has very good level of glucose. If it is good, it should be between 100 to 140, and if it is beyond 140, 200 to 400, definitely the person is diabetic, okay, and he needs doctor's advice. All right. Now we have a patient whose blood report is taken, and in the fasting, that is before breakfast, person is having around 126 mg per deciliter, okay. So here it is around 126 mg per deciliter just after eating. He has eaten, he has had his meal, and you can see that it's around 220 mg per deciliter. 3 hours after eating, it is around 200 mg per deciliter. Now the question is, we have the table which is to be referred, and they are asking you, it shows the blood glucose level of a patient. What is the disease that can be identified from this particular table? So the first question is, what is the disease that you are going to see? Which hormone is responsible for the disease which is diagnosed? Which of the following glands secrete the hormone identified? Is it thyroid, adrenal, pancreatic or parathyroid? What would be the diagnosis of a patient whose blood sugar level 120 per deciliter just after eating? So he has had a meal and he is showing a blood glucose level of 120 mg per deciliter. Is it good? Is it excellent? Is it high or is it low? So these are the 4 questions that's being asked after analysis of the blood report. So you have seen the blood report of the patient. So what's the blood report of the patient? The blood report of the patient at fasting, it is around 126, correct? If it is fasting, it has to be 80 to 100. So here definitely yes, sugar is a very common term, phenomenon used. So as biology children, you should use the technical word. Manjunath, what is the technical disease? Sugar is anyone will say sugar. So you are a biology student, right? So what would you call this disease? So we would call the disease diabetes, correct? So sugar is a common man word, okay? So you will be using the word diabetes. Diabetes is nothing but increase in the blood glucose level. Sugar here refers to glucose, okay? So there is more glucose, so we would say diabetes. Very good, Chaya Devi. Which hormone is responsible for this disease? So what is the hormone that is supposed to control this blood sugar level? It is not working properly in this person. Which is that hormone not working properly, because of which this person has got the disease? Why did this person get a disease? Which is that hormone which is not working properly in this person? Chaya Devi, can you answer the next question? Manjunath, Danush. Which is that hormone that is responsible for diabetes? Very good, Smita. Manjunath is also given the, Manjunath is again given the disease. Chaya Devi is given the correct answer. In fact, you need to know the full name, which is diabetes mellitus. Okay, diabetes mellitus is the full name of the disease. Okay, as biologists, if you want to become doctors, please remember this, it is called diabetes mellitus. Okay, so the hormone which is not working properly, which has caused this disease to this patient, is insulin. Very good. So insulin is not functioning properly. All right. Which of the following glands secrete the hormone here? Which is that organ which is producing insulin? Okay, there is one gland which is responsible for the production of insulin. Is it the thyroid? Is it the adrenal? Is it the pancreas or the parathyroid hormone? Very simple answer. It is the pancreatic gland. Okay, so pancreas is responsible for the production of insulin, and insulin is going to lower the blood glucose level. Here it is not functioning properly, so the person has got diabetes. Very good, Smita. Very good, Manjunath. What would be the diagnosis of a patient whose blood sugar level 120 mg per deciliter just after eating? Okay, so just after eating he has 120. So you can see just after eating, this patient is diabetic because it's 220. But I have a patient who's having 120 which falls here. Correct? So 80 to 100 is excellent. 120 is falling between 100 to 140. So when I see 120, it is going to be good. So it is good. The patient's report is good. Okay. So this is how you are going to analyze higher order thinking questions and answer. Alright. So this one question has been repeated in most of the previous year question papers. That's why I have taken up this question. Alright. Okay. So we will see some assertion and reason questions. We just have, I think, 4 more minutes. So the assertion here says the brain is also known as the central nervous system. Reason says central nervous system controls and regulates the voluntary actions. Okay. We have options A, B, C, D. A says both assertion and reason are true. Reason is a correct explanation of the assertion. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. C says assertion is true, reason is false. D says assertion is false and reason is true. So what is the assertion telling? The brain is also known as the central nervous system. Definitely no. Central nervous system is going to be comprising of brain and spinal cord. Correct? So I will not call brain as a central nervous system. In fact, we additionally added the brain stem here, if you remember the first slide. Correct? So this is definitely false. Central nervous system controls and regulates the voluntary actions. Okay? Which is definitely true. Okay? So central nervous system is definitely responsible because we have the brain here. Brain is definitely going to regulate and it is going to tell you what to do, what not to do. So it is going to be assertion is false and reason is true. Alright. One more assertion and reason. Assertion says a receptor is a specialized group of cells in a sense organ that perceive particular type of stimulus. Reason says different sense organs have different receptors for detecting the stimulus. Can you answer this question? The last question. What is the answer for this assertion and reason? A is false, reason is true. Manjunath says assertion is false, reason is true. Anybody else? Chaya Devi, Smita, Danush, are you there? A receptor is a specialized group of cells in a sense organ that perceives particular type of stimulus. Smita says A. Very good. Okay. So what is a receptor? A receptor is any particular group of cells. A group of cell is going to form a tissue, correct? So for example, a simple receptor as simple as dendrite. Dendrite is formed of a group of cells, isn't it, Manjunath? Dendrite is a group of cells, correct? Yes. And if I have to sense my taste, I will be using one receptor. If I have to understand my sight, I will be using the other receptor. If I have to smell, it will be the olfactory receptor, optic receptor. If I have to have the skin receptors, it is going to be different. Taste receptors are different. Okay. So they are going to be different for particular type of stimulus. Okay. So different sense organs are going to go through different receptors and all these receptors are a group of cells. Correct. Different sense organs have different receptors for detecting stimuli. That's what I explained right now. Correct. So both are correct, which is both assertion and reason is true and reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Okay. Because here whatever I gave is, okay, just a minute. I'll go back. Okay, it's okay. So whatever I explained was with respect to just one particular part, but we also have electrical signals and one second, let me go back to the last slide. Okay. So, here whatever I used here was to explain this particular statement itself, but not necessary we have only sense organs, we also have other things like the neuronal signals which is going to be passed, the dendrons which is going to pass to the axon. So, many different types of signals are there, electrical signals and chemical signals. Alright. So, Smita has got one part right, but the answer is B, which is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Alright. So, with this we will wind up our first session of chemical control and coordination. I want you to go through the PPT. I will be sharing the PPT in the link, whatever was done. We have a few additional questions and answers also, which I have not taken up in today's class because of lack of time. You can go through the PPT, it's all there, answers are there. If there is any doubt, you can just post your questions on the chat box, which I will be taking up tomorrow. Okay. So, tomorrow same time I will be meeting you. If you want anything specific, you want a particular topic to be dealt in specific, that also you can mention in the chat box. We will go through it and I will give you the answers tomorrow. Okay. So, if you have liked my class, please like our channel and subscribe, and I will meet you tomorrow. Alright. Thank you all. Have a happy evening. Take care. Bye.